All right. What are you typing there?
A note.
Okay. You're preparing. You're preparing for an interview.
I'm preparing for an interview. Yeah,
It's good when
I'm
you
typing.
prepare.
I'm typing a note for myself to simplify, to recall what I'm doing.
All right. Let's for a second talk to people who are going to watch this.
Okay, sure.
So, hello and welcome. What we're going to do today is a conversation with a friend of mine who I will introduce in a second, and he will introduce himself, that's for sure. We're going to be mostly talking about coaching as a practice for leaders, for entrepreneurs, for CEOs, for managers, as actually a way to move forward and develop yourself and develop your business, whatever that is you're doing. So, yeah, to give you context and to just get started with that, we'll start with intros. So, my name is Eugene Vyborov. I'm a serial entrepreneur, I'm guessing. I've exited a couple of companies, most recently YayPay, which is accounts receivable automation SaaS. And now I'm involved in another venture. Oh my God, I'm involved in another venture, mate.
It was supposed to be a sabbatical, you know?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a sabbatical. It really was. But anyway, now I'm building something related to artificial intelligence, which we are going to talk about a little bit today. So, yeah, that's me. Dima, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, fellows. My name is Dmitry Bibikov, and today I would introduce myself or represent myself as a coach, but overall I'm a manager and a leader with over 15 years of experience. My journey in the corporate world took slightly longer than 10 years, I think. And it ended up like 3 years. And since then, I'm running my own consulting and coaching business. And the reason why we're here is one of the reasons that several years ago, I started making a shift from consulting first to coaching first. And I see how big is this change and the impact of this tiny solution on the people I work with and organizations I work with. And yeah, definitely another reason is to discuss how AI will influence leadership and already influencing leadership.
It already
that's another thing.
Yeah. Hey, mate, how long, what's your experience in coaching specifically, like coaching, mentoring together, maybe?
It's 8 years in consulting, 7 years in coaching.
Okay, that's pretty massive. Well, anyway, so my experience is over the years, like 15 years I'm in business. Many of the things that I have achieved because and with the help of coaches that I work with, which I truly appreciate. Thank you very much. I honestly do. If you're watching this, which I think you are. So
wait. I need to do the same for mine. Dear coaches of mine, I appreciate it very much, sincerely. Thank you.
Right.
The moving force of the leaders.
There you go. So yeah, it was quite helpful for me, but I also know about a lot of people who think that this is some sort of voodoo science and that it doesn't really make sense. So can you start by telling me exactly what coaching is and why it's helpful, could be helpful for leaders and or just, for people? And I'll move this plant further away because it's in my hair.
Anyway, and it's not giving you food, so it's kind of useless at this point. I'll give you several definitions. The one is the simple one. Coaching is the technology that helps you build the bridge. Whose dog is that? Who let the dogs out?
You know whose dog is that?
I know.
Okay, you can continue. That's fine.
So coaching is the tool of any other person, including leaders, that helps to build the bridge with the future, kind of to set up the relation with own future. I would say it's also the aiming technique, the global technique. It helps you to aim and moreover to understand your true desires. And I'm one of the fans of the Lucifer series, and the guy there comes like, what is that?
I don't know what you're talking about, by the way.
Okay, the guy there says like, what is that you truly desire? So like, if you kind of ask this question to yourself, what is that you truly desire? Like not your identity, but your authenticity, like your id, your inner self. And to make sure that one can move forward based on these honest desires, honest wants, not being driven or moved by traumas, presets, patterns, or something like that, not the automatic things.
Okay.
And it's also the tool to transform, but, the transformation is overused to some extent.
Wait. Let's stop for a second. So what you're saying sounds quite a lot like a therapy. So what's the difference? I guess where's the line between coaching and therapy? And do you draw the line of the kind of with your I guess clients? I was about to call them patients. Like
that is one of the
one of the
lines actually. Yeah, the coaching clients are not patients. So actually, therapy clients are not patients as well. And the psychiatry clients are patients. I would put it this way. Okay, now
it goes to you. See,
yeah,
you deserve the love. That's
I deserve the love. That's one of the benefits of coaching. Even animals start loving you. So the line, it just hit me.
I know it's distracting. I'm sorry, mate, but that's I live with this guy every day. So.
So one of the lines: therapy works in the present plus the past. So kind of the pitfalls that you had in the past can be fixed. The kind of the common thing, the traumas, the patterns. I think it's a cat.
Yeah,
today it's a cat. So traumas, patterns, something that was built earlier, default behaviors, but now requires to be changed.
Right.
Coaching works with the future. So it's like I can say we don't care what happened in the past.
Yeah.
But we are focusing on the future. We're not fixing what distracts from the past. We're fixing to help person to move into the future, like to create new reality.
But in order to achieve that, you do have to work with the past sometimes, right?
Sure. So, but let's say past is like 15% of time, overall time in coaching. So we do take a shit about it. But also, usually in coaching, we don't get very long distance, like we don't go into childhood.
Okay.
Let's say past tense in coaching would be like, what was your last period of half a year or a year? What is your satisfaction in that period? How you want to change it? And then 70% of time for the future.
Got it.
So, and you also mentioned working with therapists versus coaching. I strongly insist and appreciate and really a fan of my clients having therapy parallel to the coaching.
Okay.
Because while building their future, vision, life, whatever, they sometimes get stuck with their old patterns, old behaviors.
Right.
And it's great when they have therapists as a supporter with whom too much love.
I hope you're enjoying that.
I mean, I can project so much love. Support from therapy to resolve the issues they may face.
Right.
So those are two parallel streams for me.
Okay.
And my own experience, I had like 4 different coaches, and I'm grateful for all of them. There were different levels, significance, profoundness. One of them I involved when I was burned out and I needed help to resolve burnout and to learn to control my resourcefulness overall afterwards. Because that's the bonus. With coaching, I didn't just fix the problem in the past, but I also learned how to avoid or mitigate the similar type of things. So like expanding my tool set for personal growth. Wow. And also I have 6 years in therapy.
Are you counting you being a therapist or you being a client?
Me being a client.
Just clarify.
Yeah. Okay. 4 years in psychoanalysis and 2 years in cognitive.
You're counting that like it's a newborn child that he's 4 years old now. I've been in therapy for 4 years. Oh, now it's going to school. It's been 6 years. No, it's good. I'm going to therapy myself. I think it's something that every person has to do. To be honest, we're all traumatized in different ways. So
both of the tools, both therapy and coaching, those are optimizing. I believe that every person with no significant disorders can do whatever he or she wants. Like everything is possible. The question is about how optimal would the way be. Like without therapy, without coaching, something may take, let's put it like very abstract, like 10 years.
So you're saying it speeds up. It speeds up the results.
Sometimes it optimizes the resource consumption. Okay. So maybe the time is the same, but the level of satisfaction is higher because the price was lower, like the cost was lower.
Right. So can you it all sounds great. I mean, I understand it, but I assume that someone who didn't go to coaching sessions before and doesn't know how that works might be a little confused because we're talking about, quite high things. Let's simplify that a little bit. So first, who do you think is a perfect candidate for coaching for you, for example, like your perfect client, I don't know. And why do they think this kind of person needs this coaching now in the state where they are right now?
In general, like Eugene, look, I don't want to say that there is a specific perfect client. Yeah. So I want to say why I would consider coaching necessary now.
Okay.
Like include myself included.
All right.
And then I'll tell you who are my clients, because that's sort of my niche, and I know that niche just better than the others, and I don't want to speak.
No, I understand. Yeah, that makes sense. All right.
So why it got more important? Like at the birth, let's say a century ago, when the therapy was born, it was more of a science than publicly used thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it got real that you had childhood, you need a therapy. You went to school, you need a therapy.
Are you a human? You need a therapy.
Yeah. Anyway, you're an adult who has relationship with yourself, you need a therapy, because sometimes we're self-traumatizing quite often. But now coaching is not about fixing things. It's about optimizing, speeding up, and moving into the future in more focused way, like with better aiming, with better precision, more intentionally.
Okay. And
coaching is a great tool for that. But moreover, the world is what it was first: VUCA, volatile, uncertain. The two abbreviations. Yeah. Like one was called VUCA world, VUCA. Now it's BANI, BANI, ambiguous. I don't remember all the.
You're not simplifying that now.
I'm not. But the thing is, it's turbulent, it's volatile. Yep. The pace of change. Come on, Kitty. Just in his house.
Settle down.
Yeah,
good boy.
The speed is very high. The pace of changes in the world is extremely high. So for the person to either adopt to that change or to maintain his or her kind of aiming crosshair on the desired result, desired outcome, life, lifestyle, future, business, personality, identity, coaching is a great tool to maintain or set the crosshair to what is needed.
Okay, that makes sense. So talk to me then, what is your specific specialization? Like, I guess, what is this narrow area that you mentioned where you work?
Eugene, you're my potential client.
Am I?
Yeah, you are.
God.
You are, like, by definition.
Start selling me.
No, I can't work with friends. Sorry.
I know.
But I will, if you insist. So yeah, the niche or the category of people I work with are primarily called, I call them business owners or business leaders. So owners of the business, partners, senior managers, executives, maybe non-managerial roles who carry the accountability and responsibility for this. So everyone who is within the business
is making decisions,
takes responsibility, and takes any leadership role.
Right. What in terms of like that's what you're talking about, the specialization in terms of the kind of people.
Yeah.
What about well, I guess you guys have different expertise in terms of what you bring to the table, right? Maybe different, I don't know how you call it, like specializations. Maybe some people are working more on leadership side, some people are working more on coaching. I mean, working more on organizational structure side, and others on the goals or something along those lines. What is yours?
In informal words first.
Okay.
Just to set the baseline.
But you will have to simplify it.
Yeah. So just in common words, to set the baseline in official terms, it's business coaching, management coaching, organizational coaching.
Okay.
If we go deeper, there are such things as performance coaching, because I help leaders to become more productive and more efficient and more resourceful. But in general, I help leaders to become more authentic, to regain their freedom, especially for business owners. You probably know it better than me, because my experience is like just 3 years in that area, in entrepreneurial identity. I added it to my to my crowd just 3 years ago. But initial intention is to create business, to start feeling free, to get more money, to get more freedom, to get more, I don't know, respect, to make higher impact to the world, to realize the dream, those are very high important values,
Right.
but then reality hits badly. You
Always
need
does.
to invest more money than you earn. I personally now have to, I would say, postpone some of my financial wishes, desires.
Because you're in
Because I'm
entrepreneurial
in,
game, because you have to be investing in order to
yeah,
get
I need to
any
invest more.
advantage there. Absolutely.
It's kind of, it's not I'm restraining myself from something. It's just
Yeah.
like trade-off.
It's a
I'm
trade-off you have to
buying
take.
something
Absolutely.
first rather than the other first.
Yep.
So building assets prior to buying liabilities.
Okay.
And in this game, coaching helps a lot. So that's why I'm saying regain the freedom. I have a client of mine, actually several of those, who say like, we started business, we're stuck in operations. We have no time for strategy. We forgot what was the general
topic. Okay.
And like with the coaching, with me as a coach for them, I help them to first resolve their operational busyness.
That's interesting. That sounds like it's a mixture between organizational coaching, right, and the sort of business owner coaching. It's in the middle. Yeah.
One point of upsell from my side, but I think it's important to say, there are quite few or relatively few male coaches. And I don't want to sound sexist, but
really,
yeah,
didn't know that.
Relatively, if you look at the therapist, the majority of therapists are mostly women.
Okay.
The majority of coaches are mostly women. That's a statistic from the ICF.
Wow. Okay. Didn't know that.
And the behavior. Okay, we can speak about the leadership style.
Yeah.
Is simply slightly different, but some male, they tend to go into more aggressive business style, aggressive leadership style, and so on. And kind of balancing this male and female sides within the leader helps to become more versatile leader. But yeah, I promised one point of upsell and I went aside.
Okay.
That was not it. So, and there are quite a few coaches with a business background, or let's say a management background. So I don't just act as a coach, I'm the one you start working with, and then we can simply switch to operational consulting, to management consulting of the company, launching new revenue,
cool.
Starting a team. So it's like one-stop shop. And I think that's a big benefit, not just me selling that to people, but it's a big benefit for my clients. So they don't need to hire a coach separately, consultant separately, organizational, whatever, coach or for team facilitator separately.
Okay.
It's like all in me.
Okay. No, that sounds interesting. So basically, if I come to you and say, hey, man, help me out with my new venture, whatever it is, you won't just be able to work with my personality, my goals, my, I don't know, leadership style, but also with my organizational management. Meaning like you can suggest, okay, this is how you need to organize it. And this is, how I mean, sounds very universal.
But it's helpful. Like, look, when you I'll keep using you as an example, just
use me.
So you being a business owner, you grow the company, and at different stages of the company, you hit different glass ceilings.
Okay.
So one of the glass ceilings, as an example, would be the scaling. You, as a business owner, can grow your business from the scratch to certain size.
Yeah.
Then you need to build the structure. Typical consulting, or let's say pure consulting or standalone consulting, will go ahead and tell you this is the New York structure, these are the job descriptions of people you need. Coach, or having coach on your side from the beginning, will tell you, okay, Eugene, this is your personality, these are your strengths and weaknesses, or this is where your cautious and your opportunity generating skills. This is the type of personalities of people you need as executives in your business or as project managers for your teams, to balance you out, to fit well, to match well with you personally, and also to fit the culture.
We did something like that in Yape, by the way. I mean, it works quite well. But see, I think that this you need water.
Yeah,
good luck with that.
I didn't try. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So yeah, I guess the question I wanted to ask is it's not even a question, it's more of a comment. There is this line of separation between, okay, this is personally you, and we're going to work with personally you and your intentions and desires and traits as a manager. And then there's an organization, and we're going to work with organization and how to optimize it. But the reality is this is one and the same. Because there's no, especially if you're a founder, if you're like a founding member of the team, there is no going around the fact that the organization is the reflection of you. Am I right here?
Absolutely, absolutely. And let me like extend what you're saying even further. It's not just organization that one is building.
Yeah.
So let's call it business life or realization through business.
Yeah.
It's not just the impact to the world as the representation of values of the founder. It's also the relationship with the world. There is friends, family, health, finance, and all the other areas, and they're all one. We may look at them as separate segments of life, but they're all one thing. They're all the area, like different playgrounds of the same person, and they're always on, like they're never off. You don't turn them on or off separately. When you spend additional 2 hours, when you spend additional 2 hours at work, you spend 2 hours less with friends or 2 hours less with family.
You burning out was on work and then not being able to perform at the level that you expect yourself to, etc. It's a lot of that is about a balance. Listen, you mentioned something interesting a couple of minutes ago. A problem that every business owner deals with and starts with is setting up their business so it worked mostly without them being involved, sort of in autonomous kind of fashion. And this transition between, you doing every other thing that you can find by hand and running a business that runs systemically based on processes and autonomously is always a big challenge. I would argue that probably it's one of the biggest challenges in building a true business. Are you helping with that? And if so, can you give some details on how that happens and what is the most important in this?
Let's park the question about what are the details, because I would like to come back to later.
Okay.
I think it's more important to elaborate on autonomy itself first, because there is I would say, consultatively politically correct word, which is called self-organized teams or something like that. I'm not a fan of that, sincerely, but me subjectively.
The term itself or the notion behind it?
The notion behind it.
Okay.
But I'm really a fan of autonomy. And I would put it not in the way like, I will make organization autonomous. Because first, it's not realistic. Secondly, it's not really needed. Thirdly, it may sound scary for the owner.
Right.
As you said, it's the extension of the person, like one's identity.
It's an extension of personality, yeah.
And then here comes someone and says, I'll cut it off. It's scary. So I prefer saying to either introduce autonomy to organization, or first maybe introduce organization to autonomy. To say, like, guys, that's a kind of toolkit or a resource. I would suggest looking or considering autonomy as an organizational resource, and you can balance it. So it's like hydraulic system. It's not healthy to fix the level. You need to learn how to increase or decrease the level of pressure in hydraulic system. Same with autonomy. It's an organizational resource, and you need to learn how to use it in the favor in different periods of time.
That basically, yeah, look, it's a nice perspective. You can look at organizational autonomy as a resource that you're using.
Yeah,
that's a different perspective entirely, for me at least.
It is. So that's why I prefer saying introducing autonomy and organization to one another, because in this case, it's not like changing organization. It's more like educating, teaching, informing, like increasing awareness and applied skills of the organization, which is represented by the owner and the leaders and every single member, on how to use it for the benefit of this group, of the system.
Okay. Well, look, the thing that comes to mind is actually what you just said, that business owner doesn't necessarily want to achieve an autonomy or full autonomy.
Absolutely.
But I guess it's a difference between what people want, what a business owner wants to achieve from his organization. If this is just a way for them to make money and they're building it as a business for the money's sake, like this is something that will provide for them in the future, then I guess they will desire a full autonomy as soon as possible. But if this is something that person is building as a legacy, it would be different. Is it not the case?
I think there is, again, from my experience in life and from the experiences of the clients I worked with as both corporate and consultant and manager.
Right.
I would say it's not this question doesn't have an exact answer from today.
Okay.
The answer to this question is visible with certainty only in retrospective. When you got to the certain point of your business developed or evolved, let's say 5 years of company age,
okay,
then you can look back and say, I'm building this business for legacy, for impact, for sustainability, and so on. But probably one may have a guess at the beginning, but it won't be certain guess. What I think everybody, like every leader at different levels, owner or executive or mid-manager wants, is not just to cut the rope from the business organization, but to shift the focus on what's important and to maintain the majority of the focus on the most important kind of part of the backlog, on the most impactful tasks and activities. Speaking operational work, so to get unstuck from operational work, or to minimize the involvement in operations, daily ops, and to increase time and focus and attention dedicated to strategic work.
So, to simple it entirely, dumb it down for me, all right? So, it basically means organizing your work in a way where you don't only do what you have to do, but you have time to do what you want to do and what needs to be done in the organization. Like strategic thinking about that, and not only operational running back and forth. Is that about right?
I would question your simplification now, because you made it in like triple bumped, yeah. But it's nice. We're replacing my mess with your mess, so it's
good.
It's versatile.
It's better.
Yeah.
Are you done with this one? Because I have another question. I mean, we're probably not going to have enough time for everything, but something I really wanted to ask.
I think answering your question now.
Yeah.
It's not what one should do. It's minimizing the emotional impact of the trade-off.
Okay.
Because actually being stuck in operations means trading off strategy, trading off the potential future impact,
right,
for firefighting, let's say. Impact versus firefighting. Both things has to be done. But something is like, I have no other choice. The other one is I want to. And it's kind of the inner conflict between want and need.
Okay.
And also important thing is not to burn out in either of those processes or in that conflict in the middle. That's what coaching helps with as well.
It feels like it's just a bad habit for entrepreneurs, burning out. Everyone, like almost everyone I know who is in startup business, in one way or another, they burn out. They know that they will burn out again, and they still burn out. And they know that they will burn out again, and they still burn out. And this is like endless loop. I mean, there should be an exit from that somehow.
I started laughing, not because I'm laughing at people who had burnout, just because I'm one of them. I was one of them.
That's not encouraging. You need a coach.
And I got a coach at that moment of time. I mean, dude, I was so badly burned out that I got the light version of panic attacks triggered by psychosomatics.
Right.
And my burnout at that period of time, that was in corporate. So it was like in 2016, 2018, like that.
Right.
But it was caused by my overexcitement. I was not, look, while already being a manager, like mid-manager, like delivery director, delivery manager, I was taught a lot on how to build the team, build like relation with stakeholders, manage, but not how to handle my resourcefulness. And I'm not saying just about my energy levels, but that kind of skill of feeling where are the drains, how do they impact me, what is like, do I have enough focus and attention, which are also resources of one. And I was working simultaneously with New Zealand, Australia, UK, and the United States. And I had to do the demos of the whatever, like physical hardware for insurance at 5 a.m. in the morning.
You know what makes me think about good organizations take responsibility for the resource management of their employees. Bad organizations leave it to themselves. And in this case, employees who don't know how to manage their resource, they burn out. That's what happens. If an organization does, well, actually cares about it, then they can provide people with coaching, with maybe a little bit more control over the time frames that they work with, or I don't know, just the amount of work that they have. But I think that's one of the points. Wouldn't you agree?
I would partially agree, mostly agree.
Yep.
I would agree that organizations do, and not to sound blameful, the organization I worked for at that period of time, they did care. Just at that moment of time, that was not so developed.
Yeah.
Like now they have corporate coaches within the HR. They have trainings on the soft, not just
I care about your org, but
no, but what I'm saying that at that moment of time, I didn't know to do that, and the organization was not able to act sufficiently, at least in my particular case.
Okay.
What the part on which I disagree is one should not make organization or somebody else or even coach accountable and responsible for own resourcefulness.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah. So organization, in my opinion, may be and should be responsible for providing ability for the person to recover.
That's really everything.
Ability to learn about resourceful. Provide tools like qualified or upskilled HRs, corporate coaches, either hired or networked. But every single person is the only one who should be and who can be responsible for own resourcefulness.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to add here that's one of the skills, that might be the separate topic, like what kids should be taught. And it's definitely not integral mathematics and physics and chemistry at that level, in my opinion, to some extent. But informational hygiene, financial hygiene and awareness.
This is a whole separate topic.
And resourcefulness. Like that's one of the basic skills, especially.
I definitely would have been happy if I had this at school. That's for sure. Would have saved me a lot of nerves. And,
you remember at the beginning you asked me what's the reason for coaching?
Yeah.
The high pace, high dynamics of change.
Yeah.
Being able to, or it's never late. I would put it this way. So it's never late, but the sooner one learns to handle, I don't want to say manage, handle the resourcefulness as a stance, as a state, as a part of own wholeness.
Right.
The easier life becomes. The easier it gets to not to struggle with changes, but kind of surf on the changes. And the change, do you feel the change of perspective with that?
I do. Look, I understand it perfectly. I mean, for me, it resonates quite deeply because I've been through that. But I want to talk to you about something you just mentioned, which I think is a huge topic these days. We're living in the world of artificial intelligence. And, well, we'll talk about artificial intelligence, of course, which I would love to touch on. But the fact that it's there and what's happening right now on the markets means that the change speeds up even further. So the change now is like literally, I mean, you can wake up tomorrow and see something in the news that wasn't possible 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's insane, like literally. So I guess, what do you do? Like, how do I handle it? How does anyone handle it? How does a founder of a company that works in the AI space manage to stay sane, when this kind of stuff is happening? What would you suggest?
I would say that there are two sides of this. One is fear, or like what's something that scares, but the other thing is excitement. And those two things come together. That is something that rarely happens in human evolution, because we either had excitement that drove us as human beings to do something, or we had a fear, or we got scared. I mean, in very, very earlier days, which was a signal for us to run away or fight, one of the three stances. But now we start having two of those things at the same time, and that's quite a unique thing. It happened. It started happening only in the.
It's freaky, man. It's just freaky.
It's freaking. So
Yeah.
what I would say is asking yourself, what exactly is it in there that frightens me? And what is it in there that excites me? Is the fear real? Is the fear within the area of my control? And then ask about excitement. Is there opportunity in that excitement? Can I mine an opportunity, develop the opportunity from that excitement, or using that excitement as a fuel? And is this opportunity within the area of my control? By doing this, you kind of put both fear and what's inside of it, and excitement and what's inside of it on the scales.
Okay.
And then you can make a kind of intentional, thoughtful decision. And
what would be the decision?
Go for excitement. Develop the opportunity. Surf the change. Surf the wave of change instead of diving under it. Like use the power of surf.
I just don't see how that helps me to get rid of fear. I mean, yes, surf the change, follow the excitement, make the change happen. But I still have FOMO. I mean, that's
okay. FOMO is a different thing.
Well, look,
I
think you were talking, and for me, really in this whole situation, there's two things. There's FOMO, of course, everyone has it, and then there's a certain kind of existential fear
of the
future, of how this is going to change. And I mean, obviously not because of AI only, but also because of the war in Ukraine, because of the war in Middle East, and all sorts of other changes in the world, and China and everything. So yeah, I guess, look, it's an honest question for me. I haven't found a way to get rid of this fear. I have to manage it. I have to live with that. Is that something you help with?
Yes. Coaching, and me in particular, can help.
Okay.
Speaking
all the
of
details,
how,
like if you put $20 in the machine, they will get the rest of the
toss the
details.
toss the coin, and
toss the coin. Yeah.
In brief, existential fear is actually I don't want to sound over-promising, right?
Okay.
Not to mislead. So there is a realistic possibility to completely overcome the existential fear of future.
Okay.
But in most of the cases, it is like guaranteed, like what is guaranteed achievable, to decrease the intensity of the fear as emotion down to the level where it stops irritating, where it stops.
But it stops being a problem.
Being a problem, yeah. It stops freezing person from action. And how to overcome this existential fear of future is actually by building the bridge with the future. It's like bridging yourself today with yourself in the future, with how do you want a life to be. And it extends your area of control, or at least what your mind starts considering as a new area of control. It makes it wider and it gets larger compared to the fear. So the fear doesn't look that huge and big and so on.
That's cool.
And the second thing is action.
I can see it working.
Yeah. And the second thing is action, and having a partner, because I consider, like, when I work with my clients, I consider myself a partner to them. Not coaching is a tool, is an instrument, but coach is a partner. And emotionally, it's not about just ups, it's about both ups and downs. Because I don't want to say if we fail together, it's more kind of a business partnership, but to some extent, yes. Because when client starts going down because of this fear, or comes in the very down state, the coach has to mobilize all the resources to help. The second thing is to take action. And coaching is one of the great instruments to help person to switch the stance from this frozen stance into acting stance.
I see. Okay. Look, one more thing. I mean, thank you for the answers on this one. I think I have one more thing to discuss, and it's an important for me personally. Again, talking about AI and what's happening right now, I get a feeling that it will bring some changes in the way people lead and in leadership in the first place. But that's more of an intuition. So I would like to hear your take on how leadership role can change in the new world.
First, I might sound messy, but I want to give you several points, maybe going wider rather than going deeper. Definitely, like AI helps leaders, especially leaders in management, to speed up their decision making, to enable higher quality data-driven decisions. That's for sure. I mean, there was this like not struggle, but strive to data-driven decision making, to data-driven management. Now with AI widely spread it already, it's just enabled, it's boosted. It's not just enabled, it's boosted strongly.
Okay.
For the part of, let's say, people-related leadership, I think that I would, well, let me put it another way. I would prefer to reuse kind of do the never mind. The term augmented leadership. It is not created by me, but I want to bring augmented leadership.
Okay.
It is not invented by me, but the meaning was different. I want to add kind of the Mark II meaning to it. The initial meaning is that augmented leaders, they don't just lead the team or organization, they also lead technology.
Okay.
And that's kind of, they put these two things together. In the terms that I want to put on the table today, augmented leadership is when leader plus the organization or the team members of the organization and AI lead together. Because the thing is, and I tried it with myself, I tried to use ChatGPT and Bard as a coach.
Okay, how did it work out?
It worked quite well, but thanks to the fact that I knew the techniques and I knew the questions to ask.
Right.
But how did it work? I had, you know, this talk to the hand.
Yeah.
That was kind of that invisible partner to talk to. So imagine that earlier days, some team, let's say regular engineering team, needed the HR or a team leader or a manager to resolve the conflict. Now, when someone has the conflict and is just conscious and self-aware enough not to start with punching a colleague in the face, someone can go there, okay, we have a conflict about this and that, what would you recommend? And AI will provide several suggestions people may start using, and leader won't even know about that happening, and people start self-resolving. But, and the leader can do the same thing, asking, how should I build my team? What are the best practices and so on and so forth, and kind of make this more creative, but
it's almost like
decision.
Having coach next to you for
I would say it's more of a best practice dictionary. Like, you know, maybe not dictionary, vocabulary of best practices. Yeah, more of that kind. Good morning.
Well, good morning. Yeah, he woke up.
Yeah, he started falling down. I tried to follow him, but he was sleeping down. But it's not about coaching. So what I think is augmented leader. So AI will replace some low-level decisions in forming team, maybe even relationship building.
Right. But
leaders should become more conscious to be able. I mean, it's kind of pleasant when he's not when he's not hitting me when I'm breathing.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, now it's adorable. Be more conscious and teach team members consciousness.
Yeah.
Because there is a high risk of overusing AI, of kind of starting replacing AI with real relationship, or trying to build the relationship without personal contact. Like, you know, instead of going out, hanging out, even on Zoom, but, you know, looking at one's face, reading all the nonverbal part, trying to be empathic. Okay, there is a new person in the team. What should I say? With no personal contacts? That would be very tricky in a negative way. So yeah, in this augmented leadership model, one being a leader should on one hand be cautious and kind of learn how to set up some protective things from AI not to be overused, to maintain the value and efficiency of human beings as beings and kind of multiply their potential. Because sometimes it sounds and it looks like AI can replace. No, it cannot. The right thing is boosting. Some functions can be replaced, But what are we good at? We're great at adaptability. We're great at creativity. We're great at socializing, at building systems, at building organizations, at being brighter, at being moral, ethical, or immoral, unethical, and so on.
Depends
But
on how you like
that's
it.
a versatility. Yeah, so these things cannot be replaced. So augmented leaders should use AI for the best of the organization, prohibit, I would say prohibit, kind of restrain or protect from overuse. And I would say teach consciousness and self-awareness by example.
Mm-hmm.
Because less conscious people, and sorry for overusing this word, but less self-aware, I would better put it this.
Self-aware is a good one, yeah.
People with lower level of self-awareness are more vulnerable to becoming addicted to LLMs and what they provide.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting thought. Maybe you're
They're
right.
more vulnerable. They're more vulnerable for becoming the addicts of LLM.
Mm-hmm. It's an interesting thought. Are you, honest question, like, do you have a fear? Are you afraid that you as a coach are going to be replaced by AI at some point? Have you thought about that?
I'm not afraid of that.
Oh, you're not afraid because you don't think it's going to happen, or you're not afraid because you're not afraid?
Both.
Okay.
I'm not afraid because look, there will be something new. I really compare appearance of AI with appearance of combustion engine.
Right.
And then appearance of internet.
Yep.
Did internet did, let's say, electronic devices replace paper books?
To an extent.
To an extent, but not completely.
Yeah.
And even people of the younger generation, they still, in some cases,
of course, because it's warm and cozy and everything. And
same with coaching. To some extent,
human coaching to be warm and cozy and nice, but
maybe more complicated cases. Maybe cases with the larger scale.
Big cases that require personal connection, a deeper personal connection, something like that.
I would say, again, being both of three, manager, leader, and coach and consultant,
right?
And considering like my former teams and organizations that I led or consulted, I would definitely rely on AI now for doing kind of metrics management, for giving me suggestions in what would be the best option based on the numbers.
Right.
But I would not rely on AI in something like replacing positions, like replacing people on certain positions,
right?
Without getting direct feedback, without observing how the team reacts on that particular, let's say, project manager per se.
Do you have thoughts on how the world is going to change after this AI revolution in general? How the business world, personal world, maybe we will have more people. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Just, do you have any thoughts on that?
I have many. That's why I'm breathing. That's
too many to choose from.
Yeah, too many to choose. I would probably, actually, I should take a look. The author and mathematician and philosopher Bernard Werber. He used to start building the tree of scenarios of how humanity may develop.
Right.
I actually need to check what does his tree say on the branch of AI.
Okay.
Because there is like one branch that ends with meteor catastrophe, the other with some bioterrorist attack or something like that, and one branch goes to AI. I haven't checked it for several years so far. It's quite interesting. What could it be? From my perspective, and why I have no fear. I hope that I can sustain my ability, my skill to serve the change, as I do now. I have my own experience of changing over, let's say, around 10 professions. I'm not saying of jobs like companies.
That's the question I asked, but whatever.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I just think it will lead for me personally changing another, like acquiring another profession or extending it with another skill set. Again, I'm speaking of augmented leadership. It's going to be augmented coaching for sure.
Yeah.
To some extent.
Yeah, that I'm convinced of. Yeah, absolutely.
But how the world will change, many new jobs. What scares me is the use of AI for war purposes.
Yeah.
And I'm like annoyed by war in general. I just like so upset that in 21st century we still have to, after having two world ones.
Yeah, it is difficult.
So that is what really generates my fear. What I think is going to be better, the space exploration. We can go, we can send
space
AI
exploration
farther.
with AI?
Yeah.
Ah, von Neumann's probe. I see.
Yeah.
That reminds me of
we can send
book.
AIs. Yeah, you recommended that book to me. I haven't
Yeah,
started
exactly.
yet. I'm still reading the 7 Eves. That's a good one.
Right.
Teaching will change.
Education, you mean?
The educational role and approach to teaching. What needs to be taught and what needs to what can be acquired on the way.
Right.
Something about the skills to not just the skill to learn and unlearn and relearn, which was I think it was Toffler, but like more than 5 years ago.
Right.
It was mentioned. But also how to learn, how to unlearn, and how to relearn. And I think in this next version of this triple formula, AI will be as a fundamental, will be the fundamental thing.
I know. I think every industry is going to be impacted heavily, and it's not
Absolutely.
just not there's nobody who can hide from that, to be honest. And it feels to me that we'll have to land on something like universal basic income. There's no way around it as well. And many people will finally have a chance to do what they want to do rather than what they have to do to make money. And yeah, I'm optimistic about that. I'm hoping that this will help to create a new world with more people that are happy.
I agree with you, but
there is always but. Yeah,
my butt is
dude, your butt is great, no question about that.
Thank you, sir. So the but that is in my mind is it's not the optimisticality of the future.
Right.
I'm also optimistic about it, and I kind of adore how it may look like, and I'm excited to live long enough. And I think that's another thing that we'll be able to live longer, to look to see how it looks, and participate in it. My concern is about how, like, what is the road there? What's the way to get there? Because I'm not a pessimist, but I'm just pragmatic about it. I think they're going to be wars. I think they're going to be rebellions. I think there's going to be war for resources, and now not human resources. Like new type, like oil is almost in the past. Now we would have, let's say, silicon.
Now we have chips.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Now we have chips. But anyway, not to end on a gloomy note, but I think we had an interesting conversation. And
I enjoyed it.
How do people, I guess you'll give me your contacts and stuff, and I'm going to put them here.
Okay.
They do that on YouTube.
Here.
We're going to put them here for those who want to reach out to you and talk, I guess. Is there any closing words you want to say to the audience?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Fellows, I appreciate your time. I hope that thanks to Eugene's questions and experience and my versatility of experience, you enjoy this conversation. I would like to encourage you to be brave, to be optimistic, and to use any tools possible. Again, if you never tried the coaching as a tool, I would recommend adding it to your arsenal. Yeah, I would say arsenal. Whether you whether you're gonna use it regularly or not, you're gonna have the experience of having it anyway. And even single endeavor can be transformative as if trying something new.
Yeah.
It's like, I would compare it with sports, It's impossible to stay on the sofa and just watch the TV and say that sport looks like mine and that doesn't look like mine. You need to get out, like put the rollerblades or sit on a bicycle or get into the kayak and try it at least once before saying, is it mine or not? you either enjoy it or not. Yeah, there are some health conditions like with coaching, one with clinically confirmed mental distraction diseases has limitations to coach, because first those has to be fixed, or coaching is allowed under supervision of the psychiatrist, or like in tandem. But again, same with cycling. If someone has the problem with the knee, certain load, so cycling is not prohibited, but the loads that may be given by cycling should be limited cautiously. But having this experience is helpful. I never regretted that that I had mine. And sometimes it was resurrecting. Another time it was really transformative. And all the other times I intentionally used it as the booster. In Need for Speed, you have the NO2.
Yeah.
So like the NO2 button to speed up the system and get to the point faster while learning some skills. And I know you understand me. I just hope we were not boring.
We definitely were, but that's fine.
Not too boring.
Not too boring. Yeah.
Not too boring. Not too energetic. Because my last thing is to say everybody should go coaching. Everybody should try coaching when it's necessary, but it's not like
it's not for everyone, of course.
Not for every time. Not for every time,
and not for every situation. That's true.
Yeah. So
man, thank you so much. It was shut up. It was a very exciting conversation. I appreciate your time and appreciate your wisdom in that regard. And till next time.
The next time. Thank you.
All right.
And we woke him up.
We woke him up.